protect, because they're trying to protect what they've got. But then they're saying, oh, what do you want gold for? It's a barbaric relic. It's a thing of the past. It's never going to be any good. And besides, it doesn't pay interest or dividends. When you buy gold, it's just throwing down a rat hole. What you want to do is invest in Wall Street. You want to get involved in 401ks and IRAs and all those fancy investments, because that's your ticket to riches and glory. So that's what they're doing. While in the meantime, they're of course really protecting their real wealth, which is gold, behind the doors, and of course the public can't see that. So that's their plan. And so the people that have a little bit of money, I'm saying, like, again, this is not a magical cutoff, it's just my observations over the years, and I have many, many, many specific examples of individuals. I'm not going to give their names, but it's just like uncanny. If you have a couple of 200,000, 300, 400, 500, a million, $1.5 million, $2 million, these people are so. It seems like the more you have, the more blind you are. It's like blindness and riches go together, because when you have that kind of money, you're in the system. You're in Wall Street. You're in IRAs. You're in 401ks. You're in stocks and bonds and equities and securities and fancy like investments. And you're out there among rubbing shoulders with the big boys. And of course, it's just like a disease. It's just like if you're a child in a home where your parents smoke. Well, if you don't end up smoking, you probably die of lung cancer, because secondhand smoke is more dangerous than the first-hand smoke. So it's like you get caught up in all the propaganda and euphoria. Well, but they don't tell you, these big multi-billion dollars, people, billionaires, they have their gold in the the basement of the Fed, but they're not going to tell you about that. They want you to be suckered into Wall Street. So these people that have this kind of money, almost invariably, now there are exceptions to this. Almost invariably, though, they're locked in like a mouse in a glue trap. They're stuck in the system. They can only see what they can only hear what they've been programmed to hear. Buzzwords like diversification and not all your eggs in one basket, and this kind of stock and that kind of stock and this equity, and then of course we can't forget foreign currencies, and then offshore investments, and you should have your money in Swiss banks and Swiss annuities, and of course this is all this false prestige. Well, if you're one of the powers that be and one of the elite, certainly you'll probably have a Swiss bank account, or maybe you'll store your money in the Perth Mint, which is in Australia, or maybe you'll have but you probably have residence over there too, So, but now you've got somebody that, that has has a regular house and maybe a regular business, and they're up to their eyeballs in debt. But you're telling them that, just like the big pundits now are saying, get your money out of the country, overseas, and don't have it in these financial institutions here. Just get your money out of the country if you really want to protect it. I mean, talk about asinine. I mean, these people don't have 1 ounce of common sense. I was talking to a lady down south. She's in her 70s, and her husband just pushed for this. He wanted to buy this Swiss annuity. Swiss annuity, a couple of $100,000. And she said, absolutely not. She read the document. It was full of fine print. She said, all this means is we're going to give them $200,000, and then over a period of 10 years, they're going to pay us back. Isn't that great? But it's 8,000 miles away. Why not have it in her hand? Well, again, he was so totally brainwashed by the system, by all these, Wall Street siren buzzwords, that he couldn't even think straight. I mean, to me, it's common sense. I've always been a saver. I've never trusted the banks. I've never trusted institutions. I value every dollar I make. So I'm certainly not going to give it to a con artist or a shyster. Look at Wall Street right now. They're bragging they're going to give $74 billion worth of bonuses this year. Last year it was only 60. Well, that kind of tells you something, and as I pointed out, and if you want this article, be glad to send it to you on the DTCC, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. That's that along with its 6 or 7 subsidiaries, including the Euro CCP over in Europe, which handles every transaction in the 14 countries over there. They control 99% of all the transactions, and the money goes into a pool, the DTCC pool, and all its subsidiaries, and that pool is there, and your name is not there. You're twice removed. And all of your money, if you have any of the conventional stocks, bonds, equities, securities, annuities, even T-bills, it's all in this pool. It's all a rigged game. It's all a rigged game. You don't own anything. And come to find out who owns the DTC and all the subsidiaries, the Federal Reserve System, the Federal Reserve, the same people that, that brought us all these over-the-counter derivatives and credit default swaps and is devastating the entire country and the entire world. They have your money, and they're going to keep it. But it's a matter of pride, and I don't want to talk about pride necessarily, but that's what it ends up to be. I mean, but so people that have what I've concluded is that people that have the most money will lose the most because they'll never listen to anything called common sense. They refuse to open their eyes to see what's going on, and they refuse to acknowledge. It's just like denial. I mean, it's like they're so stubborn. They will not admit that the system is no longer functional. We're melting down. It's bankrupt. Now's not the time to be thinking about making another dollar. Now's the time to be preserving every dollar you've made. But for some reason, it's just like the more money you have, the more the dumber you are, and then you've got your set of cheerleaders too. I call them cheerleaders. Now, who are the cheerleaders to these pseudo rich? I'm not trying to be sarcastic or condescending when I say pseudo rich, but if you have a couple $100,000 up to $1 million or $2 million, you're really not rich. And come to find out when things collapse and you don't do anything, there's so many warnings about bank holidays. You have Harry Schultz saying it. Many, the closed door session of the House of Congress last March 13th of 2008 talked about the economy collapsing, the banks collapsing, martial law, rioting, switching, North American Union, the American, these things they have planned for us. These are their plans. Obama just got done, with a trip. I can't remember if he went to Mexico or whatever, but Mexico, Canada, United States. These are the things that they plan for us. Now, but these people, getting back to the cheerleaders, who are these pseudo-rich cheerleaders? They're accountants, they're brokers, they're financial planners, they're CPAs, they're insurance agents. These are all their cheerleaders. Now, the cheerleaders, they have a vested interest. So not only are they listening to, the Wall Street buzz, but they're also listening to their financial advisors. So what are their financial advisors telling them? Oh, you don't want to get out of that. We're just going through a cycle. It's a cycle. That's all. And we're going to come out of this. Just don't worry about it. We're going to come out of it. You just stay right there. We're in for the long haul. Well, these cheerleaders are actually agents of destruction because they have a vested interest. Obviously, they want to keep your money in their hands because they look at it as their money. It's not yours, and that's what they actually train these brokers. When somebody brings some money to invest, it becomes the agency's money. It no longer belongs to the client. So they're taught to do anything in their power that they need to do to coerce them, intimidate them, lie to them, whatever it is. Had one broker swear at an old lady and hang up on her because she wanted to get her money out. They will stoop to anything to keep your money in their hand. In fact, one of my clients had $340,000 in some IRAs, and this is about a year and a half ago, and he saw the bottom falling out. And he wanted to get out, so he told his broker, "I want to get out." The broker said, "Oh, no, it's going to come back. It's going to come back." And so he said, "All right, I guess you know best." So then he waited. A year later, he had $240,000. He lost $100,000. So I said, "Look, Joe, you better get out now before you lose the other $240, whatever is left." He said, "All right." So he called his broker. Then he called me back. Joe said, "The broker said I should stay there." I said, "Wait a minute." And I got really mad. I said, "Look, you just tell your broker said, all right,